let's be honest with each other for a second. There is a strange satisfaction, a specific kind of guilty pleasure that comes from spotting someone else's flaws. Maybe you're scrolling through Instagram and you see an influencer wearing an outfit that tries way too hard. Maybe a coworker asks a question in a meeting that you think is painfully obvious. Or maybe you see a parent struggling with a screaming toddler at the grocery store, and you think to yourself, wow, get control of your kid. In the exact moment you make that judgment, whether you say it out loud or just whisper it in your mind, you feel it. It's a little rush, a spark of electricity. For a split second, you feel taller, you feel smarter, you feel better than. It is a powerful hit of dopamine, and let's admit it, it's addictive. But let's talk about the hangover. Let's talk about what happens 5 minutes later, when the rush fades and you're alone in your room. That feeling of superiority vanishes, doesn't it? And it's replaced by a hollow, gnawing emptiness, a subtle anxiety, a creeping suspicion that if I am watching everyone else this closely, who is watching me? You've built this persona of having high standards, of having taste, of being sharp. But deep down, you are exhausted. You aren't judging because you are mean. You are judging because you are afraid. Society has a lot of names for judgmental people. We call them haters, snobs, toxic, or bitter. But looking at this through the lens of psychology, I see something very different. Judgment isn't an arrow you shoot at the world, it's a shield you hold up to protect yourself. There is a famous quote by Anais Nin that perfectly captures this. We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. The things that irritate you the most in other people are almost always reflections of the things you cannot accept in yourself. Do you despise people who are lazy? That might be because you never allow yourself a moment of rest. Do you hate people who are attention-seeking? That might be because you have suppressed your own desperate need to be seen. Judgment is not an attack. It is a painkiller. It is a fast-acting narcotic for a bruised ego. When you feel not enough, when that deep insecurity flares up, your brain scrambles for a quick way to restore your sense of worth. And the fastest way to feel big isn't to grow, it's to make someone else look small. You aren't a bad person. You are just a person in pain, using other people's mistakes as morphine to numb your own insecurities. Let's strip away the philosophy and look at the mechanics. What is happening in your brain when you judge? We need to talk about social comparison theory. Biologically, the human brain struggles to measure self-worth in a vacuum. It doesn't know if you are good or bad on your own. It only knows your value relative to the people around you. When you feel insecure, your brain spikes with cortisol. Your internal alarm system goes off. I am not safe. I am not valuable. Then you see someone make a mistake. You judge them, and instantly your brain releases a cocktail of dopamine and serotonin in the nucleus accumbens, the brain's reward center. It feels exactly like eating a donut or winning a bet. It creates a temporary relief from the cortisol. Your brain says, phew, okay, at least I'm not as messy as that guy. But the deeper mechanism at play here is what Freud called projection. This is a defense mechanism. Facing your own flaws is incredibly painful and energy expensive, so your brain performs a little magic trick. It takes the shame you feel inside, cuts it out, and pastes it onto someone else. Instead of saying, I feel like a failure, your brain rewrites the script to, why is she so incompetent? You are externalizing an internal war. You are fighting your own shadow, but you're seeing it on someone else's face. To visualize this, I want you to imagine you are a building inspector. But here's the catch. The ruler you're using is bent. It was bent by your past, by your trauma, by the impossible standards set by your parents. Because your ruler is crooked, every wall you measure looks crooked to you. You walk through life pointing at perfectly straight buildings and screaming, that wall is leaning, that door is uneven, this architecture is a disaster. You run around slapping violation stickers on everyone you meet. You feel responsible. You feel like you're the only one who cares about quality. But the problem was never the buildings. The problem is the tool you're using to measure them. Or think of judgment like drinking salt water. When you're thirsty, you take a sip of judgment. For a brief moment, it wets your tongue. It feels like relief. But the salt eventually dehydrates your cells, making you thirstier than you were before. So you drink more, and you judge more. It's a feedback loop of self-destruction disguised as having high standards. So why did evolution wire us this way? Why are we so naturally critical? Let's go back 50,000 years to the tribe. In a small hunter-gatherer society, survival depended on cohesion. If one person stole food or slacked off during the hunt, the whole tribe could starve. So the human brain developed a hypersensitive error detection system. Gossip and judgment served a vital function: social policing. It kept people in line without needing physical violence. The judgmental person historically was the guardian of the tribe. But here's the problem. We don't live in caves anymore. Your coworker wearing a slightly short skirt does not threaten the tribe's food supply. Your neighbor having a messy lawn does not mean the village will perish. But your primitive brain hasn't downloaded the software update yet. It still treats every deviation from the norm as a threat to survival. Furthermore, if you grew up in a home where love was conditional, or your parents criticized your grades, your looks, or your behavior, your brain learned a hard lesson. Safety lies in perfection. To survive, I must be flawless. And to be flawless, I must find the flaws in others before they find them in me. You judge others as a preemptive strike. You are attacking them before they can attack you. So how do we put down the crooked ruler? The first step is not to force yourself to stop judging. Ironically, don't judge your judgment. Instead, shift your mindset from judge to explorer. The next time a critical thought pops into your head, instead of believing it, hit the pause button. Take 3 seconds. Ask yourself, what does this thought say about them, or what is it telling me about me? Why does their behavior trigger me so much? What part of myself is this touching? Try a practice called Just Like Me. When you see someone being rude or loud or messy, instead of thinking, what an idiot, try thinking, this person has bad days just like me. This person wants to be loved and respected just like me. This person is fighting a battle I know nothing about, just like me. And most importantly, you need to make peace with the inner critic, because the person you judge the most harshly is actually yourself. That voice in your head that tears down other people, that is the same voice that whispers to you at 3 a.m. that you aren't good enough. You have to forgive yourself for being human. You have to accept your own messiness. Because when you finally realize that you are worthy of love despite your flaws, you suddenly stop needing to point out the flaws in everyone else. You don't need to blow out someone else's candle just to make yours shine brighter. The sky is big enough for all the stars, including you.